Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Gary Borders.
Gary Borders?
Yes, he's a patient here.
Okay.
In this bed?
Let me see. Gary? What the hell? How did you find me?
Well, I put this on Twitter. I mentioned it during my live stream, and I talked about it in my episode review. And I'm glad I'm not the only person who feels the same way. Gary randomly popping up at the Penthouse makes zero sense. And I understand that the writers did this for the sake of shock value and oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But I'm just looking at this cliffhanger, not intrigued about what's going to happen next. I'm just confused and annoyed by how little sense any of this makes. Now, granted, I'm not pointing the finger at these new writers and getting mad at them. Like, you all are awful, because guess what? Tyler Perry did the same BS in the haves and the have-nots. One of the later seasons, I forget which one, but Wyatt was in the hospital. He escaped. And the thing that made it worse is there were attempts where he either tried to escape or get one of the nurses, like try to seduce one of the nurses to give him more medication and whatnot, because, you know, he was an addict. But he failed. But for whatever reason, that one, I guess somebody wasn't looking, he somehow managed to escape from the hospital in full gown and everything and book it on foot from the hospital to the Cryer estate. And that's when he broke in, grabbed some of his mom's jewelry and any sort of loose cash he could find, a set of car keys, and he booked it. And I'm thinking, like, how in the world does that make sense? And here we have a similar situation here with Gary vanishing from his hospital room. And I'm not mad at that new nurse or whoever that, Hudson went into the room and was like, hey, wait, did he go down for testing or something? Where's Gary Borders? And, she was just making the bed and looking at the clipboard, the charts, and didn't see anything for Gary. I don't know. It just seems to me this is the kind of nurse who, is just doing her rounds. Maybe this particular room is new to her because she's taking over someone else's shift, so I'm not mad at her. I'm mad at everybody else at the hospital. Like, okay, I get it. Dr. Reed is doing his own rounds. He's not there to check on Gary 24/7. But for Gary to get up out of his room, and this is during the daytime, this isn't during the night when it's kind of the slow shift for the doctors and nurses and whatnot, but we literally see that there is a desk right outside of Gary. It's like as soon as you walk out of Gary's hospital room, you can see that little kiosk or desk where there should be a nurse or someone at the front to answer any questions anybody has. So when Hudson, sees that Gary's gone, I'm thinking to myself, Gary had to get up out of his bed, open the door, walk out into the hallway, and you're telling me nobody stopped him. Let me say that again. He's in his full hospital gown. He somehow makes it out of the hospital. Let me reiterate, in the hospital gown. This isn't Gary coming out of the hospital room with his suit and tie or any sort of clothing that, is like regular clothing. Hospital gown. You tell me the hospital saw a patient just get up and leave and nobody stopped him. Granted, I doubt he had any sort of wallet or cash or phone or cards on him. So he somehow managed to get from the hospital to the Penthouse. Did he get an Uber or a cab and give him an IOU? You're telling me this man just strolled around ATL with his booty hanging out because of that hospital gown? Nobody looked at him. Then he gets to the Penthouse. And look at this. Penelope and Jordan got on the elevator and the door closed. Andy got on the phone to call Robin. Then we see her leaving him a voicemail. The time it took for them to travel from the elevator at the top of the building to the bottom, and then Gary getting on the elevator and going to the top. You're telling me they didn't see Gary downstairs? Huh? And not to mention, even though Gary was the person that bought the penthouse, so the bellman or whoever who usually dings someone up, basically, it's like, Miss Barnes, so-and-so is here to see you. Should I let them up? It's inconsistent. Sometimes we see Andy getting an alert on her phone to confirm somebody's access to the penthouse. Other times, we just see them getting off the elevator. This makes no sense because I'm with a lot of people now. It's like, wait, he has amnesia, but he remembers Andy, or he has like random memories, but all of a sudden he knows how to get from the hospital to the penthouse. This makes no damn sense. It really doesn't. And this was not a compelling cliffhanger. I'm just annoyed more than anything else. So yeah, Gary leaving the hospital makes no sense. And even if you want to use the excuse of, well, maybe Gary, he acted like himself when needed. Like, oh yeah, I like to check out of the hospital. No, that makes no sense because why wouldn't he change his clothes? Unless you're like, well, maybe this whole thing is an act, like he turned on his memory when needed and he chose not to leave in his clothes. I'm sorry, folks, but this makes no damn sense. I can't even come up with a compelling story because there are at least 15 holes in this particular plot point. It's dumb. It makes no sense. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.